Welcome to the Raise Your Energy podcast. In today's episode, I'm going to do something I should have done a while ago. You're now listening for quite a few months to this podcast, and I don't think I ever fully introduced myself. How rude of me. So let me take care of it today. Let me share with you a little bit more about my story and why I'm doing what I'm doing. Stay tuned. Hello everybody. Today is gonna be a bit different. I don't have a particular topic other than sharing with you more about myself, my story, and why I am an energy coach, why I'm doing this podcast, and why I'm serving a particular audience. Before we jump into the story and the why, a little bit about myself. My name is Linda, as you already know, and I have a family. We have Mikey, our Tibetan Terrier, and James is my husband. We are currently living in Germany, which is my home country, but I have lived for many years in other countries, 4 exactly. I love to learn about new countries and cultures for decades already, and I've even worked in my jobs in global communities or in global jobs where I get to meet people from different countries, different languages and cultures. It's just something I love very much. So I have been working for over 20 years, and I have been working in the corporate world. I've built myself really a good career. I'm working currently still at a fantastic company, but I am going to leave it very soon to focus on my true mission, why I'm here and what I'm here to do. So let me share with you a little bit about my story and my big why for being here. Last summer, I was in a pretty bad place, but I did not really realize that I was in a bad place. I think I have worked myself to that state last year over a decade. And I've worked myself into the ground. And when you do something unhelpful to yourself over such a long period, you might not realize what you're doing, and that your mental health, your physical health, or your emotional health are really, going down the drain. It's like waking up one morning and asking yourself, how did I end up here? How did this happen to me? So this is where I found myself last year. I was in a very stressful job, but I think the stress that I had was very much self-inflicted. I woke up each morning dreading to open my laptop. I did not really enjoy, I think, hardly anything I was doing at that point. And when I closed my laptop at the end of the day, I still felt fairly unhappy and not really free. So I wasn't even able to enjoy my free time, my evenings or my weekends. Maybe you know this feeling when you're all this time stressed out. This is really when every little thing can set you off, right? Every little thing that happens to you feels like a disaster, a fight, like the world is against you. This is how I felt all the time. And spending so much of your hours that you're awake at work means that all of that stress, the frustration, and the exhaustion during all of these hours at work have, of course, a huge impact as well on your private life. I wasn't really able to switch off of work when I wasn't at work, and I wasn't able to live 2 different lives of being at work, and in my private life I was in a completely different state. That just didn't work. But like I said, I just didn't realize of how bad it got over quite a few years. And if you're like me, then your job has probably been your life. You have put so much work into building this career that you identify with the role that you're having at work. That was pretty much it for me. Work was kinda everything. It was a way of how I identified. It's like when you go to a party and you're asked, so who are you? What you're doing? You always kind of start with your job and explaining where you work, because that is such a big part of your identity. So in July last year, it got worse. Looking back at it, I know that at that point, I was in a bad place, but I know that point was necessary for me to get to where I am now. So I really call it now the best thing that has ever happened to me. And at that time, I would really procrastinate on stupid little things, really on everything at work. I was dreading to go into certain calls where people were that would trigger me. And sometimes it was really that I would hang up on the call and I would actually cry because these negative feelings were just so overpowering and overwhelming. And I did not see a way out. I knew I needed to do something differently, but I did not know what and how. One day my husband sat me down and said, you either quit your job now or you go to the doctor because you are not okay. So that's what I did. I went to the doctor and I was diagnosed with burnout. In the end, I had to take off 6 weeks from work until I felt ready again to go back. I really don't wish anybody to go through what I went through. I don't want anyone to have to end up in burnout. I most certainly don't wish this to happen to you. For the first time in about 23 years of working, I suddenly had the time and space to be by myself. Well, I had to. Otherwise, how would I ever get better? I actually made a pact with myself that I would not go back to work in the same state that I was in. I could not go back and just do the same stuff again and again and just end up in the same place a few months or again a few years down the line. That was just not an option for me. So the first few weeks that I was at home and not working, I actually couldn't switch off. When you're at home, you still have the chores to do. You can take care of this DIY job, or you can take care of shopping, cooking, cleaning. So the first 2 weeks really didn't do much for me. And then I made a decision to actually take myself out of my normal life and actually go away for a week to really, truly be by myself. I knew something had to change, and I promised myself that it had to. And I guess that was a loud enough message for the universe because it worked. I forced myself to take that week out and not have any plans. I just went to a hotel and I had nothing much to do. I took a few books, I took meditations, I took something to write, but otherwise there was nothing for me to do. I didn't even have a car to go anywhere. So I was really there by myself with 100% focus on me and with no distractions. And this is where the magic started to happen. Something fundamentally shifted. I had several big realizations during that 1 week, but then they kept happening as well later on when I went back home and even went back to work. I started to understand how I work as a human being, and I understood more about how we live and how we function, who we actually are, and how this game of life can actually be played so much more easily. Maybe you had this in your life before, that suddenly something becomes clear to you and then a lot of other things connected to it make sense as well. And things start to fall into place. Like a huge aha moment. Have you had this before? One domino stone falls and all other stones fall afterwards automatically and with such beauty. That's kind of what happened to me. I started to understand certain things and started to apply them as well when I went back to work to my situation that in the past would trigger me, would frustrate me, and I realized how I can change my perspective and my way of being and not be frustrated anymore and not be stressed out anymore. From there, I just kept on going, kept on learning, kept on experiencing, and it hasn't really stopped. So that's about a year ago now, and it hasn't stopped. It's more like a snowball now that I keep learning and I keep growing, but in a way that I make my life easier, quieter, calmer, more successful kind of way that I achieve things that I wouldn't have done in the past, but very different things that would have been important maybe in the past for me. When I was still in my, so to say, old worlds, I would see maybe something a success that I do not feel important anymore now. A lot of things are not so desirable for me now, and it shifted to being in a different state for me. So in a way, that was a snapshot of my story and why I do what I do now. I want to help overachievers like I was and probably still am to finally enjoy their lives that they built for themselves. I want to help people that are high performing and career driven. I want to help high performers and career driven people to live their life with ease instead of feeling like life is heavy and exhausting, like the weight of the world is on their shoulders. I wish for people who have focused for the last couple of decades, mostly on their career and to get to a great life, to finally get their energy back so they can spend time on themselves and spend time on things that they want to do and that they love. And maybe this is you. It was for sure me, this overachiever, this high performer, always career driven, always planning for the next step. But I did not enjoy this life that I built myself fully. That life was not easy. It felt heavy. I was exhausted a lot, and that has changed now in the last year. And I want it to change for you as well. And I'm not special. I don't have any magical gift. I am a very normal person. And if I was able to turn my life around in such an amazing direction where it goes now, so can you. You can have the same easy life and enjoyable life that you really wish for. And if you want to find out more, you have a chance in the next couple of weeks. Next week, I'm launching a 3-part free masterclass, and the title is The Key to Your Easy Life. You will find out what I have discovered over the last year and what I have applied and experienced to get myself to where I am today. And after this 3-part masterclass that you can attend for free, I will open the doors for the first time to my program, Make Life Easy. I'm gonna teach you everything that I know and that I have learned over the last year, so you can build that life that you wish for. If you're already on my email list, you will find out on Monday how to register for the free masterclass. If you're not yet on my email list, I will link you in the show notes a link for the program waitlist. Get on the waitlist and you will find out about the masterclass and the program that will start in October. Thank you so much for listening today. It was very special for me to share this with you. I hope that if you are going through something similar like I was, that you know that you can turn the ship around, that you understand that there is help for you out there, and that it's very important for you to seek that help. Don't wait any longer. If it's not me, that's fine as well. I just want you to find something or somebody that can help you to stop this craziness of feeling stressed, frustrated, and not really knowing the way out. You don't have to do this alone. I really don't want you to go this alone anymore. That's maybe what you tried. That's what I tried for over a decade, and it was a long decade and it was a hard burnout, and I don't wish that for you. So get the help that you need to turn this around and start living a life full of fun, happiness, calmness and ease. Thank you so much, and with that I love you and leave you, and I will talk to you soon. Bye bye.